Hello and welcome. I'm Jess Campman's guided by Equus, and I'm here with your HorseWisdom Insights for the week of March 8th. Behind me I have Fancy, who is, I didn't know this until about a month ago, soon to be bringing someone new into the guided by Equus herd, although I don't really know when that's going to happen. And I have the rest of the babies who are now all weaned, which happened in the last week or so. And that's what it feels like. Today, actually, they're very settled, and this entire space actually feels very grounding and grounded. And I was almost not going to do the video, and then I kind of just kept hanging around here, and then I just felt like sitting down and being in the presence of these guys to share whatever it is that felt like it was part of this moment in time, which is obviously their insights for this week. And it feels like things are changing. There's something new, Fancy, that is coming into the world. And at the same time, there's this sense of loss. So like the loss of the support system of the mothers of the last two babies from last year, who are no longer present in this space. And yet they're just on the other side of the barn, so they can call back and forth to each other. But it's like, this week is the word inciting. So like, not insight, but INCITING. So inciting us, invoking within us, encouraging us to recognize this old piece that we are letting go of, or that we've had to let go of, and this new piece that's coming into play, although right now it still feels like it's not quite here yet, and so we're kind of in this transition phase, which feels like it's quite a bit later than February was, and even our weather here is confirmation to that. Today is just beautiful, and the sun is shining, and the horses are shedding, and their coats are warm and fuzzy, and everything just feels good. But I was very emotional this morning, and I didn't really understand it. And in a really interesting kind of synchronicity, I received an email from someone who had purchased a daughter of my mare Carmelita, who was one of the two foundation mares for this entire herd, I would say. So that actually brought up a lot of emotion in me, because I lost Carmelita in 2014, and I have Karma, and I have Karma's two daughters, but still there's that connection to the past and what we thought was, and a transition or a coming into the experience of something new in the world. And so this week we're being gifted all of these different, I don't even want to call them pieces, because they're not pieces, they're like remembrances, and not necessarily memories, but I don't know how a remembrance is different than a memory, but it feels like it is. And thank you, Fancy, just taking a deep breath. And I love this partnership of my two colts in here, the dark and the light, and the coming of what is to be for us. And even though we don't know what it is yet, and I love how this herd just creates itself, because sometimes I put them together with stallions, but I have, and this might sound crazy, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and they're the ones in charge. And if they want to get bred, somehow they end up getting bred. And I don't always have full knowledge of that until I need to know. And that's part of what this information this week, this remembrance of, it's like when we need to know, that information finally comes to us. And that feels again like this past connection, for an ability to step into what is to come for us. So one could call it the future, but really we are kind of creating the future in every present moment we exist in and we find ourselves in. So it's like, what is speaking to you, so that you can have this remembrance, and with that recognize, I want to say, almost like what's been holding you back, or where you haven't been able to trust taking this step, because it's not even necessarily the step, it's the decision to take this step that we continue to question within ourselves. So just taking a breath on that feels kind of like this final piece. And I'm excited to hear from you guys how this resonates and what this means for you and what this looks like in your world. And I love that Falcon just stepped forward. Because it feels like this pathway has always been there, but often in order to move forward out of the lineup that we've found ourselves in, and it's like this lineup we've created all along with our life, right? We think this is where we were going or where we are going until something shows us, well, that was maybe a piece of it. And so it's not even that we're taking a complete turn away from what it was, but maybe where we thought we were going was more a smaller piece than this bigger picture that awaits us. So I'll leave you guys with that for this week, and much love, and let me know how this resonates and where you find yourselves this week. Take care till next week.